We have some breaking Colts news, and so we're going a little bit early this afternoon. It's not so early we just do a short, so we're going to do Inside Indiana Sports now, because we've got the breaking news. So, Anthony Richardson, his agent has requested and received permission to seek a trade with another NFL team. So the Colts, right now, they got to be feeling pretty damn good about Daniel Jones signing an extension, because if he wasn't going to sign an extension, if the Colts weren't committed to Daniel Jones and given an understanding that an extension was imminent, they would not give Anthony Richardson's agent permission to seek a trade. But he has been, according to ESPN Stephen Holder, been given permission to seek a trade. Stephen Holder and Anthony Richardson's agent, they talk a lot. And so for news about Anthony Richardson, Stephen Holder's got that pretty much on lockdown. So what can you expect? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Daniel Jones, and there are a lot of numbers being bandied about with Daniel Jones and a potential extension. What kind of extension can he expect? What is the number that you really need to pay attention to when this extension is reported? That's the key. If it's 4 years and $160 million, 4 years is important. The 160 is not important at all. The number that's important, I'm going to tell you what that is. Indiana, Michigan State on Sunday, and this is kind of for all the marbles. We're 3 days away from this game that if Indiana doesn't win this game, there's really the only path possible to getting to the NCAA tournament is going to be playing exceptionally well in Chicago. So what is the number we need to pay attention to as Michigan State and Indiana play each other, and as we look ahead to what that game is going to be? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Pacers also. They got a game tonight against the Charlotte Hornets. They got a bunch of guys. Ow! Oh, it's like Rodney Dangerfield. My arm! My arm! Everybody's got a malady for the Indiana Pacers. And so hopefully tonight, double-digit dog, the Pacers at home against the Charlotte Hornets. What? Charlotte's not that great, but the Pacers, if none of these guys play, and there are a lot of guys on the injury report, including a whole bunch of starters, you know what? Is it all five of the starters? Kinda. With those guys on the shelf, what chance do the Pacers have? The answer is they got a minimal chance to win this game, and that's exactly the way we like it. Lose, lose, lose. Hang the L's like it's your job. That brings you closer to either A.J. DeBonsa or Cam Boozer, and that's the name of the game in 2026. This is Inside Indiana Sports now for Thursday, February 26th, 2026, brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry. Dr. Mike O'Neill, the best dentist in the world, my only dentist the last 33 years. I've never gone and seen another one in those 33 years. Love Dr. Mike. You're going to love Dr. Mike. You got a hole in your mouth, he's got a hole in his schedule. Give him a call, 317-849-2933. Ask for Julie. Tell Julie that Kent told you to call. Become a member. Membership has its privileges. So, become a member today. There are two tiers of membership. One, the all-meal deal at $10 a month. The other, Breakfast Buddy deal at $5 a month. Great way to support the channel. Become a subscriber and you can win a prize. Just mailed the latest prize, an autographed jersey, Cole Beasley, but it's a cool Buffalo Bills jersey. The whites, I think whites are clean and they look really good on the Buffalo Bills. Cole Beasley signed this one. We sent it off to California today. Our winners from California. Palo Alto, for God's sake. I always tell this guy, who is a viewer, obviously, I say, hey, look, you see Andrew Luck riding around on his bicycle. Ask him where our $25 million is and our championship. Come on. Become a subscriber. Yeah, you get a chance to win the prizes, right? That's free, being a subscriber. So click the join button for free, become a subscriber, and you got a chance to win an autographed jersey. Or when we get to 25,000 subscribers and we're like under 140 away, almost 130 away, maybe 120 away. So it's getting closer and closer and closer. We are going to have the prize of prizes. Only subscribers on this channel eligible to win. To win, what are the autographed jerseys? You have to use the phrase that pays in a comment, any video. You can do it one time per video, any video. And the phrase that pays today is, so long, Anthony. I am, and that's not like, I'm not ripping Anthony Richardson. I like Anthony Richardson. I want him to do well. And the question with Anthony Richardson is this. Oh, by the way, smash the like button. And if you want to make a donation, no big whoop. But please include a comment or a question that elevates the level of discourse on the channel. The thing with Anthony Richardson is, in 3 years, is he going to be a washout, or is he going to be a better quarterback than Daniel Jones? That'll be interesting. I don't think that it's going to be the latter. He's just a bad luck guy. He's just at the wrong place at the wrong time, getting the wrong injury. I don't see that changing. Maybe it does. I hope that it does for him. All right, let's talk about sports, and let's talk about this trade. Anthony Richardson, where would he go, and what would that team give back? And what would the Colts really get for that? What the Colts would get back immediately is $5.4 million in cap space. That would be a good thing. The salary would transition to the new employer. The bonus would remain the burden, salary cap-wise, of the Indianapolis Colts. He has had a cloud following him since he got here, Andrew. You're exactly right. Great kid. Unbelievable. Like, he you know what? He just kind of dances to the beat of his own drummer. And with a quarterback, he kind of needs to set the beat that everybody else needs to dance to. And so it's always been sort of awkward. It's always been sort of weird until he turned loose the football when he was healthy. And then, holy hell, you're like, yikes. Or he ran. When he put his foot in the ground and goes, it's kind of just, it sort of takes you aback a little bit. You're like, sheesh, what just happened? Whoa, he's got an extra gear. And he's got 2 extra gears. He wouldn't make a great gimmick guy, but I think he can go beyond that. I mean, if he figures this thing out and he doesn't get injured, the injuries stop, which usually does not happen. He could be a really, really good quarterback, but maybe you get a 5th, maybe you get a 6th. But the real thing that you get is the $5.4 million in cap relief. Good guy, wish him nothing but the best. That's Indiana, Ryan. That's what we do here. We wish people the best. We do not harbor ill will toward anyone. He's a cannon. It's unbelievable. And people say he's not accurate. No. He's really accurate when he's got his feet under him. When his feet are goofy, when he tries to throw against his body or something like that, or he's sort of on the move and flips it, not accurate. But nobody is except for Mahomes. He can't be Patrick Mahomes. But what he can be, when he's solid in the pocket and he's got his feet under him, he sizzles it right to where it's supposed to go. He's just got to get disciplined in his footwork, and if he does that, he can be really, again, while healthy, he can be really, really good. So crazy rumored numbers being mentioned on social media attached to a Daniel Jones extension. Like I've seen, 4 years, 190 million, things like that, which are insane. It doesn't even matter if that's the case. If it's 190 million, but 65 of it's guaranteed, that's no different, really, than 4 years, 120 million with 60 guaranteed. The number you need to pay attention to is the number of millions that are guaranteed to Daniel Jones with this extension. Because if that number is reasonable, then you're not killing yourself. You know, if you're going to pay him $47 million a year, that's a lot of jack for Daniel Jones. But if you're going to do that for 1 year, so if you do the $60 million, and it's going to be more than that, but let's say 60. You know what? Year 1, guarantee all of it. Guarantee the $47 million. Year 2, guarantee 25. That puts you up to $72 million. You know, and that's not the way it's going to work, because the way the numbers work, your signing bonus is prorated an equal amount per year. So you're going to have to get this thing squared away right from the jump that will forgive a 3rd and a 4th year. You're going to have an out in years 3 and 4, because you don't want to invest 190 all guaranteed over the course of 4 years. That would be insanity. And nobody other than the Browns put together Jim and Dee Haslam, God bless you idiots, just continuing to write checks to Watson. Yikes, what was that? That was, I don't know how many years, but $260 million, all guaranteed for a guy. Has he taken a snap? Yikes, you can't have that happen. Like, you've had the torn Achilles, you had the broken leg, he's had a concussion, he's had a torn ACL. Daniel Jones has had stuff happen to him over the course of his career where if that happens and you're $47 million against the cap with him for a number of years, you got a real problem. You're going to have a roster construction problem. You're going to have a sinkhole taking that 47 and that not being applied to other position groups. That would be, let's say, deleterious to the winning hopes of Chris Ballard, Shane Steichen, and the rest of that whole group who are fighting for their jobs. You got to get that number right. You want to pay him 4 years, $190, and if you love the deal after year 3 and you want to pay him a whole ton of money in year 4, that's cool. Or renegotiate the deal, fine. But given his injury history, you can't go beyond like 2 years, big money with guaranteed dollars. You just can't. I'm surprised he's not willing to bet on himself like Cousins always was. But Cousins knew that he was going to get franchised. He was going to get the franchise tag, right? I don't know that Daniel Jones would get the franchise tag. I don't know that that's the case. I assume that they have the framework for a deal done, or they would not grant Anthony Richardson's agent permission to go seek a trade elsewhere. Yeah, you can't paint yourself into a box where a big money deal, locks you up through 2029. You just can't. Now, the good thing, if you do spend and it goes straight into crapper and you have another catastrophic injury for Daniel Jones, is you're going to draft a quarterback because they're not going to win games with Riley Leonard, right? So Daniel Jones, let's say after 4 weeks, something horrible happens. You're not really painted into that box because you're going to have a quarterback in his rookie deal. At the same time, you have Daniel Jones maybe in year 2 being a mentor for him in that sort of, Cousins way, if that makes sense. Is it possible that Richardson is the better quarterback in 3 years? That's an interesting question. I don't think it's real possible, but I think it's a little possible. It's kind of like, I'm not superstitious, I'm just a little stitious. This much. But there is this much because that guy's physical gifts are off the charts. That's what we need, 2 QBs named Jones. Yeah, let's... The Illinois House, I forgot to put this in the headline. The Illinois House has approved 13-7, that's the House Revenue Committee, to advance the mega projects bill. It's similar in the way it kind of sets the stage for a stadium deal to get done in the state of Illinois for Arlington Heights, that mega projects bill. And SB 27 is going to get voted on by the Indiana Senate, and it's going to pass. The key for the Bears is when you're dealing with the state of Illinois, the city of Chicago, Cook County, whichever, you're going to want whatever financial promises they make, you're going to want those funded and in escrow. You're not going to want to accept their promise. That isn't the way Illinois works. You know what's really interesting? Like, people keep saying things like, they're not moving to Indiana because it's Indiana. That's all Chicago thinks of Indiana. They think of Indiana as this, like, it's just cornfields. That's all it is. And a bunch of rubes, a bunch of hillbillies, right? That's not what Indiana is. Indiana is a great place to do business because Indianans are basically honest and reasonable people, whereas Illinoisans are felons. At one point, and this is no longer the case, I don't think. I think they've had an ex-governor since this was true. But I looked this up. 4 of the previous 7 governors of the state of Indiana, following their term as governor or terms, they did hard time as felons, convicted for felonies. The majority of Illinois governors going back to like Richard Ogilvie, Dan Walker, Ron Blagojevich, George Ryan. Lots of governors, lots of crooked nonsense. You can't trust in Illinois. The only thing you can trust in Illinois is that you shouldn't trust anyone. In Indiana, it's completely different. If you move from Chicago to Indiana, here's what you're going to miss. You're going to miss baseball. You're going to miss theater if you're a theater head. You're going to miss really, really good restaurants, although the restaurants in Indiana and Indianapolis are much better than they were when I moved here. What you're not going to miss? Traffic. Terrible crime. Crime in Illinois is far worse than in Indiana, even the inner city of Indianapolis. You're not going to miss just asses. I was going to say a longer word that starts with ass on the roads. Every time you go to a stoplight in Chicago, there's a right turn lane, there's a go straight, and maybe there's a left turn lane. People will go into the left turn lane and they'll punch the gas to get out in front of you at the stoplight. Always. And how many cars go on like when the light turns yellow and then red? How many? They go until people coming the other way force them to stop. It is ridiculous the way people in Chicago behave toward one another. There is such a rampant indifference to humanity within the citizens of Chicago. It's unbelievable. That's why people from Indiana, like people who go to IU and have never lived in Chicago, they'll move up to Chicago for a year, maybe 2 years, but they always come back because they realize that the people up there are just indifferent to humanity. You can use whatever other phrase you'd like, most of them profane, and they all just ran through my head. Ryan says if AR finds the right spot and situation, he'll become a great quarterback. He's going to kick our butt when we see him. That's the way our quarterback, we'll see. I think that's going to be interesting. IU, Michigan State, Sunday at 3:45. Indiana's got a rebound against the Spartans, and Michigan State is a really, really good rebounding team. They play Purdue tonight. Then they got IU on Sunday at 3:45. So Indiana, again, has a 2-day advantage in terms of the turnaround, but I don't know whether that's an advantage or not. Indiana, Michigan State, they are relatively even, Steven, if not identical, in terms of points scored, field goal percentage, assists, identical or very similar. Defensively, Michigan State with a huge edge rebounding in points against, steals, and blocks. This comes down to defense, and defense comes down to want to. So if Indiana wants to, they could play competitive basketball against Michigan State, maybe steal one at home. If they don't, they're going to get run out the gym, just the way they did against Illinois and Purdue, both those games on the road. Michigan, too. It's the way it is. Pacers tonight against Charlotte. That game at 7 o'clock, and we'll see what happens. You got Siakam, Nembhard, Toppin, Zubats, all game-time decisions. Toppin, game-time decision, no longer out. That's interesting. Maybe he's on the verge of playing. I hope not. Obi, whoa, I hit my head. My arm. Well, it could have fractured his ulna. Good Lord, what has this buffoon done now? That's what I want Rick Carlisle to say as he examines Obi Toppin's arm. But we'll see. Hornets minus 12.5 tonight. If Indiana can lose this one, hot damn, we're getting closer and closer and closer, aren't we? Unbelievable. What are we, like 15 and 45? That's tremendous. Keep losing and losing and losing. And when you're not watching Indiana sports, watch BYU and A.J. DeBonsa, or watch Duke and Cam Boozer. Those two dudes, you put Boozer on the Pacers with everybody healthy who's under contract for next year, you win the NBA championship. You win the title. Not just going to the finals. You're going to the championship. I want to read a note that was left for my wife yesterday at her place of business. Steve Sulkey sent this. Please mention to Kent White Sox coverage? Or are you a total Cubby man like my dear father was? Smiley face. Thanks. Go IU. Steve Sulky. Steve, you're never going to hear jack about the White Sox here. Sadly, it's not that I don't care, which I don't, but that's not the thing. The thing is, nobody cares. Look at the stands at New Comiskey Park, guaranteed rate field, whatever the hell it's called now. There ain't no people there. You want to have a nice quiet afternoon suitable for reading a book or just kind of, enjoying yourself in solitude. There is nothing like a Chicago White Sox game to get that done. Now, you want to have a bunch of beers and have a great time and some laughs and watch a little bit of baseball, mediocre though it may be, you go to the north side. Nothing wrong with that. By AR, wish you all the luck on another team. Absolutely. Brandon says, dude, I know. It's literally insane. He swings and misses on the most important draft pick of his tenure, and the team has missed the playoffs all 3 years since they drafted the kid, and the 2 prior. 5 years running, not making the playoffs. That's a long time. And for Chris Ballard, we went over it this morning, but for Chris Ballard to bang on the social media accounts of Colts fans, well-meaning Colts fans, who are not happy with this level of losing and come hard at Chris Ballard, I kind of wish ownership of the Colts would do the same thing. Like, what are we running here? What do you got going? Is 8-9 good enough? If 8-9 is good enough, sign Ballard to an extension. Screw it. Keep him here. He is the grand poobah for life. Or get serious about winning and bring somebody on board who can build a team. We're going to talk. We're going to talk about 2 drafts. He's had 9. This will be draft number 10. I'm going to not even go to 2017. I'm going to do 19 and 23. 18 was a good draft. 20, not a bad draft. But 19 and 23, rarely do you see GMs swing and miss on entire drafts. But in Chris Ballard's case, it's happened twice. How's that even possible? You look at last year. Last year was a gift. Tyler Warren at 14. That's the easiest pick in the history of the NFL draft. Steichen has arguably stopped the core of what he was. Why did he stop doing the punt block plays, surprising other teams with that play, but stop? Because they figured it out. Well, I'm not talking about the punt block. I'm talking about sending the offense out there. As a team brings on its punt return, he'll send the offense out there and they got to call timeout. They'll burn a timeout. Or they'll realize they don't have to do that. And that they can, because the Colts are substituting some, they can substitute all again. And the ref's going to come up, or the umpire, and stand and keep the Colts from snapping. Anyway, they only run what they believe is going to work. They're looking for certain looks. And when they see a certain look, they got a play called for that look. That's what they do. All right. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. We will talk about the 2019 and 2023 drafts. Say it with me, ay, not good.